Once upon a time, there was a Viking named Carl. Carl was the greatest raider in all of Greenland.
Wait a second, the Greenland Vikings never even had a chance of raiding. A boat from Norway showed up once a year to pick up things like walrus ivory and live polar bears. But besides that, they eked out a living on farming sheep. They didn't even have any wood to make their own boats. And Vikings didn't wear horns on their helmet. That's all myth.
Alright then, fine. Carl was the greatest polar bear hunter in all of Greenland.
Which, out of a few thousand people, wasn't that big of a deal.
But Carl was a big deal. He was the great-great-grandson of Eric the Red, the founder of Greenland.
You mean the guy who tricked a bunch of starving Icelanders into moving to a frigid wasteland by calling it Greenland? A regular hero, that guy.
Right, so he didn't really brag much about that fact. Anyway, what made him the best polar bear hunter wasn't his ability to hunt them down, but how he took the cubs in and fed them sheep milk and trained them. He got big bucks for those bears.
Okay, they did trade live polar bears, but the Greenlanders were obsessed with their churches. They wanted to prove to the rest of Europe that they were civilized Christians, so the majority of their wealth went into the church.
You know, you really take the fun out of this. It's supposed to be a story.
Right, I'll be quiet.
So to make a little money on the side, he was a blacksmith. That's how he got that sweet axe he's carrying. The trouble was, he started to get attached to the sweet little cubs. He had none of his own kids, so they were like his children. And every time he set his cubs to sail, a little piece of him went across the ocean. Each time, he got a little more odd in the eyes of the Greenlanders. So as time went on, the other Greenlanders started to think Carl was a little mad.
Is that why they called him Carl the Madman?
Exactly! See, isn't it better when you play along?
Uh-huh.
One day, some unruly teenagers slaughtered one of Carl's rams and left the head on the doorstep. Carl, being a rather pragmatic guy, turned the head into a hearty stew. Using his mad blacksmithing skills, or maybe superglue, he attached the horns to his helmet. If his jerk neighbors were going to call him mad, he might as well play the part. Mad or not, Carl was starting to feel unwelcome. One night he had a dream of beautiful green mountains teeming with wildlife. The summers were glorious and warm, and the forest full of towering mighty trees. He decided that he needed to find that place. He started planning his getaway.
How was he supposed to do that? Greenland didn't even have their own ships. There weren't even any trees in Greenland.
Of course, I'm getting to that. As you kindly pointed out, there were no shipbuilders in Greenland, and anyhow, his dream mountain home was far from the ocean. He decided he was going to fly there.
But
it's a story, remember? So he built himself a plane out of the lightest thing he could find. Paper. He made the paper out of nettle fibers, of course, since Greenland had no trees.
But they had nettle? Did you fact check?
Not really. So on the day he was set to leave, he realized that he would only be light enough if he gave away his sweet axe. He decided to hold a lottery, and even though the townspeople thought Carl was mad, they all wanted the axe, because frankly, it was pretty awesome. Then he took his plane and jumped off the highest cliff in Greenland. Carl landed safely in his new mountain paradise. People there found his madness endearing, so he started a YouTube channel to share his madness and lived happily ever after.
So the plane was also a time machine, or was this the 1100s version of YouTube?
Either or. Go check out Carl the Madman's channel. He's holding another contest for another sweet Viking axe. Thanks for watching The Last Grown Up in the Woods.